setting my alarm because, you know, people with PhDs that profess to be professors talk a lot. So I want to make sure that I don't go over the time that Nathan gave me. I am really happy to be here today. When I think about it, for me, communications folks are the most important people in a college. And I'll tell you why. So there's an African proverb that says, until the lion learns to write, the tails will always glorify the hunter. Right? So we in engineering can't do anything. I mean, we do a lot of stuff, but if nobody knows we're doing it, then it doesn't make an impact on society and people's lives. And people can't know what we've done if we don't have you all to tell our stories. And so that's why, for me, it's a very important role in a college. I'm actually excited because I'm probably the only dean in the country that can stand up in front of you and say, I have 3 communication directors in the room, right? So we were just talking about it, in 2007 maybe, I hired J.S. Ingebretson at Nebraska to be the communications director, and 12 years later, J.S. is still there. And she was the right person for the job then, and I'm certain she's the right person for the job now. When I became dean at Old Dominion in 2016, and I got there, we had no communications director, no marketing. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you how embarrassing it was. In February every year, the deans go to Capitol Hill for a public policy meeting. I'm sure you guys get, hey, put together some stuff so we can tell them what we're doing, right around that time. And so I go to Capitol Hill, and I'm with Kim Ball. Where's Martha? I'm with Ken Ball. I'm with Don Taylor, who is the interim dean at Virginia Tech. I'm with Julie Ross, who was at UMBC but was going to Virginia Tech. I'm with the folks from UVA. Anybody here from UVA? Their loss. And so we go in to visit with these folks on Capitol Hill, and everybody's reaching in their bag to pull out their little packet. And they've got sexy sheets with colors and numbers and stick figures that don't add up. You know, it's like each person is 10, so we've got this many things happening. And it's all real colorful, and they're giving their little packets out. And I had a business card. And I was like, well, that can't happen again. So I went back and I talked with my leadership team, and I said, we've got to get somebody who can give us a brand and an image and a look and a view and all that kind of stuff. And so I actually took a faculty line and redirected it to hire a marketing director. And I hired Keith Pierce. Thank you. So Keith has been there 2.5 years and has just put Old Dominion on the map. People didn't even know it. There are people in the state who are like, oh, so ODU, where's that at? And it's like, we're in the same state as you are. Oh, you are? I didn't know that, right? Because we had no image and no brand. And as Nathan said, so I have a new title now because I'm in transition. So my title is, a friend of mine gave me this language last week. I am the Dean Designee at UT Dallas, because I don't start just yet until August 1st. But when I went to interview, I had an opportunity to meet Lakeisha Ladson, and I said, hey, are you going to the engineering communications workshop? And she's like, no, I can't go. And I'm like, no, you got to go to that. And so even in my exit interview with the provost, I didn't know she was going to hire me or not. And I said, well, if I could plant a bug or seed, with you, you really ought to send the communications director of engineering to the communications workshop in June. And so Lakeisha's here. So that's how I have 3 communications directors in the room at the same time. Now, if you don't think it's important, I'm going to read you a snippet of an email I got yesterday. So my president at UT Dallas happens to be an engineer, happens to have been a dean of engineering, and I took a snapshot of the screen and then I cut off part of what he said. But the bottom line is he was reading First Bell. How many of you read First Bell? Okay. And he says, I can't help but notice who's advertising. Since June 3rd, I've seen ads from the following engineering schools and colleges, and there's probably 12 or 15 listed, and he's listed the frequency of which he has seen their ads. Then he says, going back further, I've seen multiple ads from Texas A&M and UT Arlington. I just met Maryland from my alma mater, so he's watching you too. So he says, well, I wonder what we need to do to get our name out, and we're going to have to talk about this when you get there. So if you guys don't think what you do is important, it really is. And my advice to you, this is what I've tried to do with Keith, and hopefully JS can say I did some of this with her. And at the time, I wasn't even a dean. I was associate dean. And if I have enough time, I'll tell you how that came to be, because again, how I came to value the role. But I said to Keith, what do you need? He said, I need a camera, I need a video camera, I need a new computer, and I need to paint my wall. That's it? He said, that's it. Okay, go spec it all out. So I thought he was going to come back with, like, you know, how you guys buy all this expensive stuff. And the list was pretty reasonable. So I said, buy it all. And then I got out of his way. So you are some of the most innovative and creative people that we have because of the work that you do. So don't wait for somebody to give you permission to do something, right? I mean, now, I know a lot of your deans, so don't go say, well, Dean Adams said I should do all this stuff, right? Because they're going to be like, well, she doesn't sign your paycheck. But there are lots of ways that you can take initiative. And if you always remember what I started with until the lion learns to write, the story is always going to glorify the hunter. We don't really know how to write. Not in a way that puts us on the map. Not in a way that puts the college on the map. Not in a way that puts the university on the map. Yeah, I can write NSF proposals till I'm blue in the face. And I do okay with the general articles, not my thing. I like the proposal writing better. But to write a piece that's going to catch the attention and the eye of a 16-year-old or an 80-year-old donor or everybody in between, that's where we need you guys. And so if you're sitting around waiting for somebody to come and tell you, give us some, do some stuff, don't wait. Take the proverbial bull by the horns and lead them around. Because a lot of times we just don't know what we need or how to say it. Sometimes Keith and I have challenges, more so around me kind of saying, okay, he's trying to slow me down long enough to give him something to add to something, right? That's probably our biggest challenge, right, Keith? He can't nail me down long enough to get a soundbite. So figure out how to get that time to get the soundbite that you need, but don't wait on anybody. So how did I come to even know this was important? So when I was assistant dean at Nebraska, I was the only woman. I think I'd been assistant dean less than 6 months. And the dean's like, why am I supervising communications? I don't know anything about that. So one of y'all is going to start supervising communications. And the y'all, Texas, the y'all was all the assistant and associate deans. So they all look like he's like, so when are y'all going to be supervised? And they all kind of like, not going to be me. And I'm like, what? I mean, how hard could it be? So I boldly raised my hand. And I said, I will supervise communications. Had nothing to do with anything I knew about. First indoctrination was something called a toolbox or toolkit or some crazy thing, this thick that was still a notebook because it wasn't digitized yet, where you can't have any secondary logo and you can't have a word 2 inches from the logo and you can't do this and this is the athletic logo, not the academic logo. I'm like, what the heck is this stuff? So if nothing else, I needed a translator to help me understand what the heck the big notebook said. But that was my foray into communications and into working in that space. And at that time, I changed jobs and became associate dean of undergraduate studies. So I had all of the recruitment, retention, outreach, all of that stuff about students. And I'm like, okay, I have my own person to tell my story. How cool is this? So I didn't have to go try to get on somebody's agenda to get the brochure done, or the program book done, or the whatever done. But it was a good marriage, because I'm an IE by training, so it was a good marriage of process. Because you guys know how faculty are. Hey, I want a brochure. Okay, what do you want in the brochure? Well, I don't know. And you just come to design something, so you design it, and then you go give it to them, and they go, oh, I hate that. Or you go, they go, yeah, I like that. And you print 5,000 copies, and they come back and go, no, that wasn't what I had in mind. Well, I can't throw them away, right? So using good IE processes, we put in place like a check system. So nothing gets printed that you didn't sign off on. So when you come back after we printed the 5,000 copies and you say, I'm gonna go, because guess what? You signed a piece of paper saying you approve what we gave you, right? So I think you have to make sure that in whatever you guys are doing, and some of you are at very sophisticated schools, like, where's my buddy from NC State? Right in the back. Brian, right? Brent. So I knew Brent's predecessor, because I'm one of those academics that have been at like a bunch of schools. I'm on like school number 7, right? Not because I can't get along, just because I was ambitious and I didn't want to wait for the person ahead of me to leave, so I went somewhere else. But NC State has a very well-oiled machine. But then I was happy that you guys had the conversation about old and new, so you could sort of see everything in between. So that's all I really got for you guys. It's just, from my perspective, what you do is the most important job in a college. And I, for one, as a dean, and I figured it out as someone that's a faculty member, you got to get your story told. And the best people to tell stories are communication folks. So, how'd I do, Nathan? I got a minute left, but I'm going to stop. I'm going to return you a minute.
Thank you very much, Stephanie. So one of my duties at ASEE is I typically write speeches for the president, but I don't have to do that this year, so.
Oh, no.
Oh.
Wait, we got a minute left, right? Anybody got any money? Down payment on some speeches?
We'll talk.
All right, now I need some speeches.
She'll be up here on the Dean's panel in a few minutes.
I need one for September for Japan.
All right.